All right, so I decided to start this early. What I'm trying to do here is I'm going to show you guys. Let me turn on this real quick and get it warmed up. This is a foam cutter, and you can get one of these at Hobby Lobby or just about anywhere, any craft stop. Also, oh my God, that was the first Pepsi I had in about a year. Um, we're going to be using insulation foam. You can get this at Home Depot, whatever. These little circles here, which I'm going to use as the control domes. These are just things that I picked up at they're half balls, 6 for $2.99. They're used for different types of crafts. They're just styrofoam. You can get those at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, and they're perfect for what we're trying to accomplish. But what I want to do is have this kind of like rocky terrain with these two control areas, and I'm trying to think what I'm going to do with them. I actually cut the smaller piece out of this big piece here. Usually you get these 2x2 sheets, and they're really good to have. You can also make your own boards and stuff with them, so that works out pretty good. So right now I just cut a piece here, and all I'm going to do here is I'm going to just scar this up. And I'm just taking the thing and just kind of, and I don't press hard with these things because you can ruin them. And they're not made to work with this type of insulation. They're more for these foam balls here. They'll cut through those like anything. This, they're a little rough with. And if you notice, I'm kind of getting kind of like styrofoam, not styrofoam, but insulation hairs there. We're going to take that out with some some sandpaper in a little bit. And I just like to mark these up a bit and try to give the rock some formation, as you can see. And all I'm doing is just moving this around, letting the heat from the blade do all the work, and just crisscrossing a little bit because we're going to sand all this down a bit. You can even cut that off a little bit, and don't worry about all that hair and everything like that. As you can see, or you can do a nice smooth rock like that. You know, maybe that'll look nice in the back there, or in between, or somewhere like that. You know, it all depends on what look you're going for. You know, it could be a rocky edge. Maybe just one facing of this is all torn up rock. Remember, this is another planet supposedly. So just kind of just take that foam and let the thing just do its work. You know, don't even press. Just let it kind of, because you don't want it to look like a bunch of lines in there. But we're going to fix all that with a little sandpaper. And we're just going to do. Don Walker, how are you? Hello, Rob, watching for work. Shh, don't tell anybody. No, I won't. I won't tell a soul. So we're just kind of just oozing that in there. Now I've already dropped things, but I've taken some wood glue and I've already glued these on a little while ago. So we're letting those dry for a bit. And meanwhile, we're horsing around with this stuff, trying to get some rock formations here that we'll have. But we still have to work a lot with this piece here. Well, none of you guys get in trouble. I don't want to be the guy that all of a sudden you have to come home and tell your wife that, well, I got fired. Why? Because I was watching that YouTube guy and my boss caught me. Oh yeah, I'll be #1 on the hit list. And you can see it just looks kind of gooey and gunky and everything, but that's what I'm going for. I'm going for that because we're going to sand that all down. Maybe one side we just leave it kind of nice and smooth. Maybe we'll just cut another piece out here. There we go. Do the same thing over here. Just let that all come to pass here. I'm going to be doing these terrain things a little bit more and just trying to do a little terrain 101. Only because it's something that I want to do. Now with this, I want to kind of make a smooth edge here. So really, I'm going to cut off a good chunk of this. But I'm going to let the blade do all that. See how I'm not pushing it? I'm just letting it cut through. I'll move the blade up and down. There we go. And nothing, very, very few things don't get used. I mean, these could be for, you can cut those in half and use them for bases and stuff. And we're just gonna try to trim all this down a bit. There we go. And we're just, as you see, we're just trying to give it some, and I'm just letting the electricity flow through the thing and letting the blade do the rest. Because if you push too hard, you'll end up breaking the blade, and I've done that too. What game are you making this for? I am making this for Heavy Gear. Those robots I was working on. Justin wants to give it a go. So if it takes off the way we think it's going to take off, we want to have some objectives. So I'm going to make a few objectives. I think that'll be fun. If you see, I'm just kind of just taking and letting the blade work all the way down. There we go. And throwing the little strings on the table so the wife can pick them all up. That'll be the day, huh? That'll be the day. And you can see I'm just, again, it's not going to be a huge piece, but it is going to be a focal point at some point. There we go. Now we'll pull that up. That could be used as rock or something. And see, that's the thing that everybody doesn't show you, that you end up with all these little stringy things that'll cause bedlam. All you see is that how nice and easy they cut it and how quickly. They don't show you the bad parts because it's edited. They don't do it live. I'm the only moron that does stuff live. And I'm just letting this glide through here. They used to have one that was really good. It used to be made of wire back in the day, and you put 2D batteries in it. And now this one's electric. But you got to be kind of careful with it because it's really more of a styrofoam cutter than an insulation cutter. You wish you could up the voltage. Alright, there we go. Pull that piece off. You see we got our thing all glued in here, all nice. Let's take a look here. Yeah, look at that. Table that we worked on yesterday. We cleaned that all up. And now we got plenty of room to work on things. I couldn't work on things with the other thing. I was pretty disappointed in that. And not everything has to be exactly perfect cut. We can do all kinds of different things. With this, we can kind of just make this rocky ledge kind of thing work. It just takes a while to cut through because this is that thick insulation that they have now. There we go. And I'm going to say I'll save all these pieces because I'll just cut them up and use them for bases as rocks and stuff like that. I'll make them a little more rocky, and you know, they're perfect for bases. Okay, get over there. These two we're going to use. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put them. Maybe I'll put that one there. Maybe I'll move this one here in between somehow. Maybe put something over there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe I just don't put anything at all. Who knows? Who knows? Just let your imagination take off and do what you like. And I think that's kind of what we're going to do. Looks thick, off-color styro. Fiberglass? Yeah, pretty much. I think. What's that stuff that you get at Home Depot? What do they call it? Foamular? Is that what it's called? Foamular. But it's definitely installation. Pink installation. Hey there. Watching before I leave for work. Hey Mac, how are you? Figure out how to comment on the phone finally. Good. We like comments. Looks good. Do you carry it? Do you carry it? Will those paints on there? What? Looks good. Do you carry it? Will those paints on there? Oh, you mean when I carry it, will the paint stay on there? Yeah. This is perfect for what I wanted to do. Again, I'm just taking my time with this because I don't want to break the blade. I just let the blade do the work. If I want it to go a little faster, I'll move the blade up a bit. I'm kind of just jigging it a little bit so you get all kinds of different types of looks on it. Come on. Because you want it to be very jagged. There we go. And I'll just pull that off. You see it's starting to take kind of a shape. Do you carry it with those paints on there? Yeah, the paints don't move. They're all locked in. See, this whole thing is made so I just pick it all up, move it over, and place it on a shelf. And then we play on the table. Then when I want to paint, I just take it off, put it on. If I want to go in the house, pick it up, bring it in the house. Paint in the kitchen. It's very modular. It works very, very well. I've got plenty of space to do everything I want. I'm plenty of arm room. We got camera room. You know, we got room galore. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I kind of had you focused in on the paints. So here, I mean, you can just, I mean, if you just don't, if you want to make a cliffy kind of thing, you can just kind of stab this thing in here. Or you can do what I think I'm going to do and just kind of take some of this off. And kind of like how that's going. Another way you can scar it up is you just take an X-Acto knife, and you could do that too. Watching before going to bed. It's, oh God, it's 2:30 there. Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan. And we're just kind of just working our way here. There we go. Pull that off. You know, you can just take and move this around a bit. make it that much more rockier terrain. I'll show you what I'm doing here, because you can just you do whatever the heck you want with it, because it's not flat, that's for sure. And you just take this thing and just let it roll it. I like to roll it a little bit, and then I'll just sand it all down a bit, get all the marks out of it. You can go in here, just have fun with it until it looks the way you want it to look. I try to mix up the patterns so they don't look the same, so it doesn't look like you took a hot stick and stuck it all in there. Roll it along, move it up and down. There we go. And just kind of work it here. There we go. Now we're just making a million marks here. If you don't like something, well, we could always redo it. That's the best thing about it. You can go sideways with this and make sideways marks. Right now it doesn't look like anything, but you just gotta trust me. It eventually, like everything else I do, eventually comes somewhat together. And all this will be all painted over. Now, using paints, probably gonna ask me what type of paints. Oh, hold on. No, it's 10:20 here. Sorry for the confusion. 16:20 here, working nights this week. Oh, well, good thing you get to watch it at least. I couldn't work nights. Sounds rough work. Nights the whole week. Yes, it does. And sometimes just taking this away from here, you can just take and just let it warm up a bit, because putting it on this, it does take a little steam out of it. And all we want to do is just kind of melt some of that plastic in there. There we go. Just get it all around our little basin here. So we get a good look. It does look like I put a whole bunch of things in there, but when we sand it down, it'll look a lot better. Plus, we'll throw a little rock over it. Maybe we'll just glue this in here, or this over here. I have to see what I want to do. Maybe we'll just cut some more of this off. Just let your imagination run wild and do what you think you want to see on there, or what'll fit best for you. Get off. See, I might like to do something like that. Let this sit here for a minute. Actually, we'll put this right here. Try not to melt the camera. which is key. Maybe something like that. Maybe move it over here a little more. I don't know. Maybe move this one over here. Kind of really comes down to what you want to do, what you want to put on there. Let's take this off. And let's get our sandpaper. All right. Just so we can sand it down a little bit. Had a sale on sandpaper, so that's a good thing. I like sales. Just take this and just kind of go over it a bit. Whoops. You see, that takes a lot of the gunk off by just doing that. Not bad. Oh, okay, you guys are talking about what in God's name is Rob up to? It's like walking into a room that you shouldn't have opened the door to. Ha ha ha. Rob, what in the name is that knife? I have a wire cutting type, but that looks great for texture. It's just a Style Cutter Plus, and you can get it at any craft store. Hi all, how are you? It's nails on a chalkboard. Haha, making my hair stand. I'm sorry. Something we gotta do. I gotta do it. Sorry. Here, I'll tell you when I'm gonna go real hard. I'm gonna go real hard right now. I'll give you guys like 2 seconds to plug your ears. And here we go. Okay. And now I'm gonna do these pieces, which won't sound as bad. You see that? Looks a lot more like a rock. Oh God, don't tell me the autocorrect's on. Hold on. Oh, no, autofocus is not on. Good. And we'll do the same thing here, so just bear with me. Trying not to do it so it irritates anybody too much. Apologize if it does. All right, you see we got ourselves another pretty decent rock formation. Here we go. Geo-san, how are you? John Wolf. After After watching all of the streams after the fact, I finally hit my first one live. I feel so lucky. I don't know how lucky you should feel. All right, so why don't we glue that one right there? I like that one kind of either there or right there. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it right in there. And then the second one I'll put right here. Because I've got something in mind. I've got something in mind. Because I think I'm going to take one of these pieces and do something here. So why don't we get these glued real quick. Alright, just going to take a little of this glue. And let's just stick that right there. I think that's going to go pretty good there. Yeah, I like it. This here. Yeah, that seems pretty good. We'll put that in there. So we'll let that dry a bit. While we're working on some other things here. So let's turn it around so you get a gist of what I'm going for here. Now, I had some leftover like weirdo pieces of metal, so I kind of bend them. So I'm going to make it look like pipes going into the ground here. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue here. And, oops. All right. There we go. That looks like some kind of piping going into it, right? Let's do the same for the other one. There we go. There. That looks kind of different. Looking good. Looks like a sci-fi thing, biodomes. Yeah, kind of. That's what I'm kind of going for. Some kind of biodome control center bullcrap thing. Let's just have this off to the side here like this. Almost like a scanner or something. There we go. Let's put some glue on it first so it stays. And hold on, guys, bear with me. All right, there we go. Could turn it towards here if I wanted to. Yeah, make it look like it's part of it. Yeah, there we go. I think that looks a little bit better there. All right. Let's see what other neat little things I can do here. Maybe throw in a little piece there. Maybe something a little more impactful. Let's go. Let's cut this edge off. Actually, that wouldn't be too bad. Let's just mess it up a little bit. So we're just going to kind of put some of those scars on it. And then, unfortunately, guys, guess what I'm going to have to do next? Yep, you guessed it. I'm going to have to sand this a little bit, so just bear with me here. All these pieces are useful. All these pieces are useful. Let's see. We can put that there like that. Or more or less like that. I like that. I like that. So let's throw a little glue on here. Now the best thing is, remember I told you all those months ago about that cheap paint to go get and to practice on? Well, this is where this stuff, that cheap paint really comes in handy, is working on stuff like this. And no, you don't worry about the glue coming off. There we go. It's all going to get painted over anyways. There we go. And I think maybe another piece right here. Let's turn this around. Maybe another rock here. Maybe something here. I don't know. I might be getting, I wonder if you could use blowtorch at a distance to make craters. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could. According to laws of construction, you are lacking the required amount of duct tape. Okay, duct tape. Duct tape's just to hold it together, I think. All right, let's see what we can come up with here. Add a little more flavor to it. Um, let's try to take some of this peak off. And cut that off. We can work some of this too. It's just, we don't want it to be so loud. That's a loud rock there. Kind of want it to be a little more subtle. If a rock can be subtle. Alright. And I'm going to take off some of the edge there. And this thing really comes in handy because, you know, you could just do a lot of things with it. You just work it in there where you think there should be like a little crevices and stuff like that. Or maybe you don't think there should be any at all. You know, just whatever works. And then, of course, your favorite part, sandpaper. I'll try to do it over here where it's a little quieter. Next week, we're going to be working on an oil refinery. For a Luftwaffe game that we're going to be playing. Well, that actually kind of fits in there pretty good. I think that'll work. All right. And then we could put a little this, a little that everywhere else. There we go. Kind of like that. If we put that there, or is that overkill? It could be. Could be a little overkill. We can leave that there. Leave that there. All right, let's shut this off. Yeah, I think we'll shut that off. So to unplug the power pack and let that cool. Over on the other side of the table here. And we'll move on to the next part of our little project here. It's probably the easiest part. So let's take a look here. And this is what we've got so far. Kind of a little bit of everything that you want. I want to rough up some of these areas in here. So just bear with me for a second. Especially right in here. And there you go. Oops. There, that there. That's gotta sit there. I don't know. Maybe this piece here. Might be a little too much. Yeah, I think it's just adding too much. Adding too much. You can take an X-Acto knife and kind of carve out chunks of things if you want to. Give it a little more of a rough edge on certain things. Sometimes I like to just give that rocky base a little bit of a rougher look, as you can see. It won't show up until we paint it. Probably. And then we'll just take a little bit of sandpaper and go over that. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. Where you get that dug out look. You get that kind of rocky terrain kind of look. So you want to kind of do that all the way through a bit. And it'll come out pretty nice. Let's see. I wonder if you could use. Did you ever do the Mice and Mystics terrain? Yeah, I did it. I am not searching. I'm not sure. I searched hard enough. Yeah, I did it. I don't think I ever put the tape up. Is there a reason why you're using wood glue and not regular white glue? It's the same stuff basically. It holds just as good. Liquid nails that shit. Haha. Yeah, if I had some, I forgot to pick some up. If something breaks, my wife always goes for the liquid nails. It's her go-to. Get her done. Looking damn good, Rob. Thank you very much. So we've got some of that in there. We got that in there. That in there. The wood glue, I just have it. I got to use it up. So, it's just one of those things. For me, it glues glue. As long as it glues. Glued this stuff. Thank God. My stadium. My paint stadium. The arena. Alright, let's hang that over there. This stuff. We can just move to the side. This can come up here. And now it's just a matter of it drying, and then we'll paint it. So with that said, part one of this, I think, is pretty much done. How long have we been on? Oh, 45 minutes. That's not bad. So I'm going to let this dry a few hours, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to show you how to paint this all up, and how, what we're going for. We'll throw some flock on it, and while we're at it, we'll flock up those heavy gear guys, because that's what this is for the heavy gear game. Um, and I think it'll work out pretty good. So part one, done. Doing a terrain live. So we're going to let this dry for a few hours. I'm going to go eat dinner. Then I'll come back out here and we'll do it again. We'll pick up where we left off. So I'll see you guys in a few hours. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.